With all the scripts, actors, and special effects, it's amazing that movies get made at all. Of course, when the film does make it to the big screen, it's usually all worth it. Well, until you start noticing all sorts of little mistakes and slips that made it through editing. That's what we're here for. Sit back and relax and let us show you some of the more interesting oversights that survived the editing room. Now, before we hit play, make sure you hit subscribe and activate those notifications so you're always linked in with us here at The Richest. The Empire Strikes Back. Out of the original trilogy, The Empire Strikes Back is considered by most fans and critics to be the best. However, like the other films, this masterpiece is not without its mistakes. Let's take the iconic clash on Hoth as an example. In one scene, Luke climbs up underneath an Imperial walker and destroys it using a thermal detonator. The whole thing is pretty cool, except for one little slip. As the AT-AT falls, you can still see the stick used by the prop crew to push the model of the walker over. Jason Bourne. The most recent installment in the Bourne franchise, Jason Bourne wasn't as well liked as in the original trilogy. Maybe the various slips and mistakes had something to do with that. For instance, when Matt Damon is supposed to be in London, England, you can clearly see the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas in one of the shots. During the final car chase through Las Vegas, the damage to Bourne's Dodge Charger comes and goes while the armored car he's chasing is causing vehicles to shoot straight up in the air. We guess the laws of physics don't really apply in Nevada. Alien Covenant. The latest in the ongoing Alien franchise, Alien Covenant looked to pick up where Prometheus left off. We'll skip all the numerous fan complaints and simply head to one thing that bothered us at the end. Even if we believed that the colonist ship's computer accepted David, it still leaves one thing that bugs us. Namely, how does David know the exact container size needed for the embryo storage? After all, when he regurgitates two alien embryos, they are both a perfect fit for the tray that holds the human containers. Coincidence? Ant-Man. One of the lesser characters of the Marvel Universe, fans nonetheless loved Paul Rudd as Ant-Man when the movie came out in 2015. The film provided us with a different kind of superhero, which was kind of refreshing in the grand scheme of things. That said, Ant-Man did have its fair share of mistakes. One that you might have missed involved Rudd's foray into the pipes. You see, pipes don't have printing, welds, and flanges on the inside. You wouldn't actually see any of those things because they're all on the outside. Oh well, it was still a very fun movie. Quantum of Solace. Let's face it, we're willing to accept a lot of over-the-top stunts and physics-defying logic when it comes to James Bond. Yet, while 007 can perform miracle stunts, not everyone else can. In Quantum of Solace, someone forgot to tell one of the extras about this. Clearly visible in the background at the Haitian port, we can see one extra sweeping nothing but air. Once you see this, it's really all you can see. Wonder Woman. Who doesn't love Wonder Woman? There's something just so awesome about watching Gal Gadot kick the butt of a bunch of enemy soldiers. Anyways, one tiny goof you'll actually hear and not see in this film involves sidekick Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine. When he is getting out of the bath and getting dressed, the camera pans to Gadot and we hear an audible zip as Pine does up his pants. There's just one problem. Zippers were not used in men's pants until the 1920s, years after the events in the movie had taken place. Fate of the Furious. Alright, so making fun of goofs in the Fast and the Furious movies isn't much of an accomplishment, but we'll still give it a go. For you military buffs out there, the Fate of the Furious, or Fast and the Furious 8, likely left you shaking your head. Even if we ignore the outlandish speed and ice-smashing abilities of the Akula submarine, there's that ridiculous heat-seeking missile scene. Given the slowest missiles still travel several hundred miles per hour, Vin Diesel's car must have been doing a similarly impossible speed, all while maintaining control on ice and snow. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Given yet another reboot, this new Spider-Man seems to be a fan favorite. Alas, like every Marvel film, there are many goofs and mistakes, but we'll focus on just one. We're talking about the ferry scene, where the ship gets chopped in half lengthwise and doesn't sink. Clearly that ferry must have been built out of foam because any other ship would have filled up with water incredibly fast. Not only that, but when Iron Man welds everything back together, the ship doesn't sit any lower in the water thanks to all that extra weight. Rogue One. Rogue One gave us a gritty and entertaining movie that showed the universe beyond the traditional franchise storyline. One character fans really enjoyed was Chirrut Imwe, the blind spiritual warrior monk whose wit matched his skill with a staff. On Jedha, we see Chirrut dispatch a group of stormtroopers with ease. Yet, this is where one slip happens. While fighting one trooper, the monk kicks up dirt into his face. In addition to reacting too quickly, the stormtrooper acts like he's mortally wounded, even though his helmet should have stopped a little dirt. First Ewoks, now dirt? Does that armor do anything? Thor: Ragnarok. The newest installment in the Thor storyline has been really well received. In fact, Ragnarok is so good that we can only find a handful of small continuity and stunt slip-ups. For instance, when Thor throws Loki at a group of guards, if you watch very carefully, one of the enemies goes flying backwards without even being hit. In other scenes that show our heroes, or Hela, right before or after a fight, the number of bodies on the ground constantly changes from shot to shot. That said, it's still a great movie. Well, that's all from us. Do you have movie slip-ups you'd like to brag about finding? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.